Which also brings me to the point of the palace, because there would have been staff there. They would have seen what was going on, the comings and goings within the palace. It was also revealed that there was a creepy code word that Andrew used when ordering palace staff to let a string of young women in for visits. Now, this is really shocking, Samara. He allegedly used a word. This is according to The Sun. It says that emails released as part of the Epstein files show several women entered the palace with the former prince's permission after being supplied by his pedo pal. They included a Romanian model and another from Russia, both treated to a private dinner while the Queen was away in Balmoral. Sources told The Sun a string of young women were invited to the palace by Andrew, and he made a specific paraphrase. So this paraphrase, Andrew is thought to have said to them, "Mrs Windsor will arrive shortly. Please let her in and show her up." So Mrs Windsor will arrive shortly. Look, Samara, again, palace staff, they would have seen the women coming and going. Surely they would have seen the sleazy behaviour, the seedy behaviour. They need to be interviewed, in my view.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, what were they meant to do? I mean, the issue here is, and Andrew Lowney, who's a famous royal biographer, writes about it so well in his book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York, which is a very, very good novel if you really want to delve into this, because it shows just how pompous and drunk on his own power Andrew was. He genuinely thought he was invincible and above the law, and that he could do absolutely whatever he liked. And I spoke to Matt Wilkinson, who wrote that article for The Sun today when you sent it over, because I wanted to see if I could glean any more information off him. He essentially told me what was back in that article, but it's quite interesting, the point of the security issue there, because apparently, there wasn't much security in place. And you would think that places like Buckingham Palace, Royal Lodge were very, very highly protected places. But actually, because this behaviour was so conspicuous, he would sort of just get them in via staff entrances, get these women in via staff entrances, via back doors, without security checks, which is a massive national security risk, especially when we're talking about a lot of Eastern European women with, potential ties to the Russian government. I'm just speculating here. But this is beyond irresponsible. It's irreprehensible behaviour from Andrew, and he was able to get away with it for years. And I just feel sorry for those poor staff having to use those sick code names of Mrs Windsor, which showed how much he just lived off that title. He really lived off it. That was his only cachet, his only trading chip for people like Epstein and others. So, I mean, you can hear from Virginia Giuffre's testimony within her book. She said it was his princely right to have sex with me, or that's how he felt. God. That tells you all you need to know about someone like Andrew.
Yeah, the guy thought he was invincible. He thought, I've got all the power in the world. I'm a member of the royal family. I can do whatever the heck I want. It's just sickening. Look, let's talk about the fallout. And I will warn our viewers, a trigger warning, the next pictures you may find even more distressing. Here is Pantless Peter. Oh dear. Pantless Peter, I know, isn't it? I mean, put some bloody pants on. Pantless Peter Mandelson, the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer's former US ambassador. Pride almost on display, Samara, as he's pictured there in his underwear. Now, this was released in the latest tranche of the Epstein files and apparently taken at Epstein's apartment in Paris. Peter Mandelson called Jeffrey Epstein my best pal, even in a 50th birthday letter. And then there's this one, Mandelson in his robe. Good grief, having a good old chat with the sex offender. Look, between Pantless Peter, Mandelson and On All Fours Andrew, I don't know whose picture is worse right now, but we have a situation where Mandelson has been asked to give evidence at US Congress about that friendship with Epstein.
Yes, Mandelson is actually facing the full force of the law here. And that is sort of interesting, because our Prime Minister, who very much was on resignation watch last week because he obviously appointed Peter Mandelson, this guy here, who I know in Australia it's probably like, who is he? But this is someone who was really behind our Labour movement over in the UK. This is someone who fostered a lot of the Labour kingpins that now run the country today. So he had a lot of power behind the scenes, and he was always dodgy. I mean, he'd been fired 4 times before by 3 different prime ministers. So he was always a dodgy fellow, and that's why people do question our prime minister's judgment in putting him in that ambassadorial role to the US, and that's now why Keir Starmer, our prime minister, has put a lot of pressure on Mandelson to go and do this. Now, it's a good question. What will come out of this? I mean, Mandelson knows exactly where the bodies are buried, so to speak, and, had a lot of skeletons in his closet himself. So we will just kind of wait and see what comes out of that. But at this point, he's got nothing to lose. He's lost absolutely all credibility. He'll never be allowed anywhere near Westminster or any sort of realm of power ever again. So I think in some ways he's been thrown directly under the bus by Keir Starmer in order for Keir Starmer to save his position. But that was always going to happen with what came out in the files. But I just think that he could be almost like a live wire at this point. He could be a bomb that is not yet detonated, and who knows what he'll say.
Well, who knows? But yeah, you're right. I mean, he has nothing to lose right now, so why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Get your popcorn ready, because God knows if he does actually appear at US Congress, what he might say.